Before the Jubilee year ends, how many churches have you actually entered? Not passed by, not seen from a distance, but truly entered with silence, humility, and a searching heart. How many pilgrimages have you really made? Not with your feet, not with crowded photos and long journeys, but with your soul. Pause for a moment. Look honestly at your life. The Jubilee year 2025 was announced as a time of grace, mercy, and renewal. Holy doors were opened, altars were prepared, indulgences were offered freely to those willing to receive them. But ask yourself, what is different? Is your heart more at peace? Is your soul lighter? Or is your life still tangled in the same anxieties, the same sins, the same silent emptiness that followed you from year to year? You may have heard about the Jubilee, you may have spoken about it, you may even have planned something someday. Yet days passed, weeks passed, and slowly the Jubilee became just another year on the calendar. What if this year was never meant to change the world, but to change you? What if heaven is not counting how many miles you traveled, but how many times you stopped and turned back to God? What if angels are watching not your plans, but your choices, your silence, your prayers, your smallest acts of repentance? Before the Jubilee ends, before the doors close, before grace becomes memory, ask yourself one final question. If this holy year were to end today, would your soul be any different from before it began? Tonight, Padre Pio was shown something few are allowed to see, a vision of this Jubilee, and a warning that no one who hears it can afford to ignore.
The night was heavy with silence. Padre Pio knelt alone in his cell long after the monastery had fallen asleep. The candles had burned low. The air was still. Only the sound of his labored breathing filled the darkness. His body was in pain, as it often was. Every wound reminded him of the suffering he carried in union with Christ. Yet he did not ask for relief. He prayed instead for souls. His rosary slipped slowly through his trembling fingers. Each bead was offered for someone he would never meet, someone forgotten, someone far from God. Then, without warning, the darkness changed. A light appeared, not harsh, not blinding, but deep, living, and impossible to describe. It did not come from the candle. It did not belong to this world. The walls seemed to fade. Time itself grew thin. Padre Pio felt his soul lifted, as if gently drawn beyond the limits of the night. What he was shown was not a place, but a time. The Jubilee year. Not as men spoke of it, not as posters announced it, but as heaven saw it. He saw doors, holy doors, opened wide across the world, cathedrals, chapels, forgotten churches in quiet streets. Grace flowed like a river, waiting for anyone willing to step inside. Yet Padre Pio's heart tightened. So many people passed by. Some hurried, some looked but did not enter. Some entered briefly, distracted, unchanged. He saw prayers left unfinished, confessions postponed, pilgrimages delayed until later. And then he saw the end. The Jubilee slowly closing, not with thunder, but with silence. Grace did not disappear, but opportunities did. Padre Pio began to tremble. Tears streamed down his face as the vision pressed upon his soul. He clutched his chest, struggling to breathe. In a broken whisper, barely louder than a prayer, he said, "So many doors, yet so few hearts entered. The light faded, the walls returned, the night remained. But Padre Pio knew this was not shown to him for himself alone. It was a warning, and time was already passing.
The vision did not end. Padre Pio found himself standing above the world, looking down as heaven sees, not through time, but through truth. Below him were thousands of churches, old stone cathedrals in great cities, small chapels hidden in quiet villages, parish churches on ordinary streets with doors left open in simple trust. Every door stood wide. Light poured out from each one, warm, patient, waiting. But the streets were full of people. Men and women passed by without slowing their steps. Some glanced briefly, then turned away. Some walked past every day as if the church were just another building of stone. They were not hostile. They were not angry. They were busy. Padre Pio saw faces marked by worry, exhaustion, distraction. People carried invisible burdens, work, fear, regret, broken relationships. Yet they walked on, convincing themselves there would be time later. Later, when life is calmer. Later, when pain is less. Later, when I feel worthy. And still, the doors remained open. Then an angel appeared beside Padre Pio. Its voice was gentle, but sorrow filled every word. They waited for the perfect moment and missed the Holy One. Padre Pio felt those words strike his soul like a wound. The angel showed him how grace does not shout. It does not force itself upon anyone. It waits quietly at the threshold. Every open door was an invitation, not to perfection, but to mercy, not to a future promise, but to now. Padre Pio saw people who planned pilgrimages but never began them, people who meant to pray but postponed it until night and then fell asleep, people who believed the Jubilee would somehow bless them without being entered. And slowly something changed. One by one, the doors began to close, not because God withdrew, but because time moved forward. No alarm was sounded, no voice cried out. The moment simply passed. Padre Pio wept. He understood then the terrible simplicity of the message. Do not wait until you are ready. Do not wait until life makes sense. Do not wait until you feel holy. Grace is found at the door you pass every day. And once you walk past it long enough, you may stop seeing it at all.
The vision shifted again. Padre Pio felt himself drawn into moving crowds, rivers of people flowing toward holy places. He recognized the roads immediately, ancient pilgrimage paths worn smooth by centuries of faith, footsteps layered upon footsteps, prayers upon prayers. Church bells rang in the distance. Shrines stood radiant beneath the sun. Banners of the Jubilee fluttered in the wind. At first glance, everything looked alive. People walked in groups, smiling, speaking excitedly. They carried bags, guidebooks, phones held high. Some paused often, not to pray, but to capture images. A photograph before the altar, a quick smile beside a holy door, a gesture made for memory, not for repentance. Padre Pio watched closely. They entered sacred places, but their hearts remained outside. Their lips moved, but their souls were silent. Their bodies traveled miles, yet their interior life stood still. He saw pilgrims kneel briefly, restless, already thinking of what came next. He saw others light candles without intention, as if performing a habit learned long ago. Confessionals stood empty, while lines formed for souvenirs. Grace was present, but it was untouched. Then Padre Pio heard a sound that did not belong to the crowd. Crying, He turned and saw a soul standing apart, dim, weary, transparent like mist at dawn. Its voice trembled with sorrow deeper than regret. "I walked miles, but my heart never moved." The words echoed through the vision. The soul spoke again, not in accusation, but in unbearable honesty. It had traveled far, followed the crowds, crossed holy thresholds, yet never surrendered anything. Pride remained intact, forgiveness was postponed, sin was carried carefully, hidden even from God. Padre Pio fell to his knees. The vision revealed something terrifying in its simplicity: movement without conversion, journey without change. An angel appeared once more, its gaze steady and severe. "A pilgrimage that does not break the heart," the angel said, "cannot heal it." Padre Pio saw how heaven does not measure distance, it measures surrender. One step taken in humility outweighs 1,000 miles walked in distraction. He saw souls who never left their village, yet knelt in silence and were transformed. And he saw others who crossed nations, returned home, and remained exactly the same. The Jubilee roads began to fade. Shrines dimmed, footsteps slowed, the crowds dissolved into shadows. What remained was the warning burning in Padre Pio's soul. A pilgrimage is not an escape. It is a confrontation. If you do not meet God there, you only meet yourself. And if you refuse to change, the journey ends where it began. As the vision closed, Padre Pio whispered through tears, "Lord, do not let them mistake motion for mercy. For a pilgrimage that does not transform the soul leads nowhere at all." The vision descended into silence. Padre Pio felt the warmth of light withdraw, replaced by a solemn stillness that pressed upon his soul. He knew, without being told, that he was being led where few are allowed to see: purgatory. It was not a place of fire, as the world imagines. It was longing. A vast space opened before him, filled with souls suspended between hope and pain. They were not screaming, they were waiting. Every soul bore the same expression, an aching desire for God, delayed only by justice and mercy entwined. They were not forgotten by heaven, but they were forgotten by the world. Padre Pio saw souls who had once lived ordinary lives: fathers, mothers, workers, the unnoticed faithful. Many had died with love for God, but with debts of love still unpaid. They reached out, not with hands, but with yearning. Then Padre Pio noticed something that shattered his heart. They were waiting for prayers, not grand sacrifices, not pilgrimages across nations, just prayers. He saw one soul in particular, dimmer than the others, weakened by time. It hovered close to the edge of release, yet remained bound. Its suffering was not despair, it was delay. Padre Pio watched as far above on earth a woman entered a small church. There was no pilgrimage, no crowd, no announcement. She slipped into a pew after a long day, weary and distracted. She sat in silence. Then she whispered a single prayer, one Our Father, offered not for herself, but for a soul she did not know. In that instant, the vision erupted with light. The waiting soul was lifted, purified in a breath, freed as if chains had been cut by invisible hands. Joy flooded the space where sorrow had lingered for so long. Padre Pio trembled. An angel stood beside him, radiant and grave. "And one prayer changed an eternity," the angel said. Padre Pio wept openly now. He saw how countless souls remain waiting, not because God is distant,
but because love on earth has grown distracted. People hurry past churches, they rush through jubilees, they pray for many things, but rarely for the dead. He saw how a brief visit to a quiet church, a moment of stillness, a prayer spoken without witnesses, carries weight beyond imagination. Time means nothing there. A second of prayer on earth outweighs years of suffering in purgatory. The angel spoke again. They do not ask for much, only to be remembered. The vision began to fade. Padre Pio pressed his forehead to the ground, his heart burning with urgency. He understood now why heaven had shown him this. Before the Jubilee ends, before doors close, before days slip away, someone, somewhere, is waiting for your prayer. And you may never know their name, but they will remember yours for all eternity.
The vision did not leave Padre Pio gently. It pressed upon him with weight and urgency, as if heaven itself were pleading to be heard. When his soul was returned to the silence of his cell, his heart was no longer at rest. He understood now that what he had seen was not a consolation, it was a warning for souls still living. Padre Pio rose slowly, weakened by pain, yet strengthened by clarity. He knew something many forget. A jubilee does not save anyone by itself. Holy years do not transform hearts automatically. Open doors do not force people to enter. Grace is offered, but it must be received. He had seen indulgences flowing like a river, vast, powerful, freely given. Yet he had also seen how many stood at the river's edge and never drank. Some assumed mercy would reach them without repentance. Others believed time alone would heal what only humility could. Padre Pio whispered through clenched teeth, as if speaking to the world beyond his cell. This jubilee will not matter to those who remain unchanged. He knew indulgences were not rewards for curiosity, nor gifts for the indifferent. They were medicines meant for souls willing to acknowledge their wounds. Too many, he had seen, treated the Jubilee like a ceremony, a date, a tradition. But heaven sees intention. The vision returned briefly, like an echo. Souls who stood before open doors with crossed arms, waiting to feel something first, waiting to be convinced, waiting to become worthy on their own. They waited and missed everything. Padre Pio pressed his hand to his chest, his voice trembling but firm. Grace knocks softly. Only the humble hear it. Grace does not break down doors. It waits for consent. It speaks in silence, not spectacle, in confessionals, not crowds, in quiet visits, not grand plans. The Jubilee, Padre Pio understood, is not measured by how many ceremonies are held, but by how many hearts bend low enough to receive mercy. He feared not that people would reject grace openly, but that they would overlook it, waste it, assume there would always be another year, another chance, another Jubilee. Padre Pio fell to his knees once more, offering his suffering as a final plea. Do not let them confuse abundance with conversion. For the greatest tragedy of a holy year is not persecution, nor disbelief, but indifference. And when the Jubilee ends, only one question will remain. Not what was offered, but what was accepted. After the warning came simplicity. Padre Pio understood that heaven was not asking for heroic acts, distant journeys, or perfect lives. The message was almost painfully small, small enough that no one could excuse ignoring it. Do not wait. Do not wait for the right season of life. Do not wait until faith feels strong again. Do not wait until everything is in order. Before the Jubilee ends, do this. Go to the nearest church. Not a famous shrine, not a distant sanctuary, the church you pass every day, the one you have postponed entering. Step inside, even if only for a few minutes. Sit down. Do nothing at first. Remain in silence for 5 minutes. Let your thoughts settle. Let your restlessness surface. Let God see you as you are. You do not need beautiful words. You do not need long prayers. Read one short prayer slowly, an Our Father, a Hail Mary, a single sentence spoken with honesty. Then do one thing that heaven never ignores. Pray for a forgotten soul. Not for someone you know, not for someone who can repay you. Pray for a soul who has no one left to remember them. Say their name if you know it, or say nothing at all. God knows. Padre Pio had seen what such a prayer can do. Chains broken, waiting ended, eternity changed. This is not about being perfect. Do not tell yourself you are unworthy. Do not wait until you feel holy. Do not measure yourself against others. Grace begins where excuses end. Heaven is not moved by plans you never start, but by steps you actually take, even a hesitant step, even a tired one. The Jubilee is still open, the door is still there, but time does not pause. Padre Pio's voice echoes through this final invitation. Do not wait for tomorrow to do what mercy is asking of you today, because the smallest act done now is worth more than the grandest intention delayed forever. You do not need to be ready. You only need to begin.
Padre Pio understood something the world often forgets. Love becomes real only when it is acted upon. The vision did not ask people to remember it. It asked them to respond. Not later, not someday, now. This is why the invitation is simple and immediate. Right now, wherever you are watching this, pause for a moment. Do not scroll. Do not postpone. Do not tell yourself you will pray after the video ends, because heaven is listening now. If you can hear these words, then this moment was given to you for a reason, not by chance, not by algorithm, but by mercy. Padre Pio's voice, gentle and urgent, rises from the silence of the vision. Right now, write in the comments, I pray for a soul. These words are not empty. They are not symbolic. They are a declaration, small, yes, but real. When you write them, you are doing more than typing. You are choosing remembrance over distraction, intercession over indifference, love over delay. Padre Pio had seen what even the smallest visible act of faith can ignite. He knew that heaven does not measure prayers by length or eloquence, but by sincerity. Some will write those words quickly, without thinking. Others will hesitate, feeling unworthy, uncertain, distracted. Write them anyway, because grace does not wait for confidence, it waits for consent. In the vision, Padre Pio saw angels pause, yes, pause, at moments like this, moments when a soul, unseen and unnoticed, is remembered for the first time in years. He leaned close, as if whispering directly to you. Heaven reads even the smallest act of love. Not the loudest, not the most impressive, the smallest. A few words written with intention can echo where voices cannot reach. A single prayer offered publicly becomes a light others follow, a reminder that mercy is still alive in the world. Do not worry about who sees your comment. Do not worry about how it looks. What matters is who receives it. Someone is waiting. And right now, Through this simple act, you may become the answer to a prayer you never heard. So do not wait. Write it now. I pray for a soul. The vision reached its final moment. Padre Pio felt time slow, as if heaven itself were holding its breath. Before him stood the great doors of the Jubilee, no longer opening, no longer inviting, but closing. There was no thunder, no warning cry, no sudden darkness. The doors closed quietly, and that silence was heavier than any sound. As the doors met, Padre Pio saw two kinds of souls gathered on either side. On one side stood souls filled with light, not because they were perfect, but because they had entered. Their faces bore peace, humility, and a softness born of repentance. They had accepted grace when it was offered, some late, some trembling, some barely in time, but they had not waited forever. On the other side stood souls marked by absence, not evil, not condemned, simply empty. Their eyes reflected regret rather than rebellion. They had known about the Jubilee. They had intended to respond someday. They remembered open doors, quiet invitations, moments postponed. Now those moments were gone. Padre Pio heard their sorrow, not screamed, but whispered. Then came the words that struck his soul like a wound. They thought they had time. Time had passed them gently, without resistance, no force, no refusal, only delay. Padre Pio understood the cruelty of that illusion. Time feels endless until suddenly it is not. Grace waits patiently until the door closes. The vision faded as the light withdrew. The two groups remained, separated not by distance, but by choice. Padre Pio fell to the floor, pressing his face to the ground. He knew this final image was not meant to terrify, but to awaken. The Jubilee does not end with punishment. It ends with truth. And the truth is this: what you delay today becomes what you mourn tomorrow. The door is still open, but not forever. The vision descended into silence. Padre Pio felt the warmth of light withdraw, replaced by a solemn stillness that pressed upon his soul. He knew, without being told, that he was being led where few are allowed to see: purgatory. It was not a place of fire, as the world imagines. It was longing. A vast space opened before him, filled with souls suspended between hope and pain. They were not screaming, they were waiting. Every soul bore the same expression, an aching desire for God, delayed only by justice and mercy entwined. They were not forgotten by heaven, but they were forgotten by the world. Padre Pio saw souls who had once lived ordinary lives: fathers, mothers, workers, the unnoticed faithful. Many had died with love for God, but with debts of love still unpaid. They reached out, not with hands, but with yearning. Then Padre Pio noticed something that shattered his heart. They were waiting for prayers, not grand sacrifices, not pilgrimages across nations, just prayers. He saw one soul in particular, dimmer than the others, weakened by time. It hovered close to the edge of release, yet remained bound. Its suffering was not despair, it was delay. Padre Pio watched as far above on earth a woman entered a small church. There was no pilgrimage, no crowd, no announcement. She slipped into a pew after a long day, weary and distracted. She sat in silence. Then she whispered a single prayer, one Our Father, offered not for herself, but for a soul she did not know. In that instant, the vision erupted with light. The waiting soul was lifted, purified in a breath, freed as if chains had been cut by invisible hands. Joy flooded the space where sorrow had lingered for so long. Padre Pio trembled. An angel stood beside him, radiant and grave. "And one prayer changed an eternity," the angel said. Padre Pio wept openly now. He saw how countless souls remain waiting, not because God is distant, but because love on earth has grown distracted. People hurry past churches, they rush through jubilees, they pray for many things, but rarely for the dead. He saw how a brief visit to a quiet church, a moment of stillness, a prayer spoken without witnesses, carries weight beyond imagination. Time means nothing there. A second of prayer on earth outweighs years of suffering in purgatory. The angel spoke again. They do not ask for much, only to be remembered. The vision began to fade. Padre Pio pressed his forehead to the ground, his heart burning with urgency. He understood now why heaven had shown him this. Before the Jubilee ends, before doors close, before days slip away, someone, somewhere, is waiting for your prayer. And you may never know their name, but they will remember yours for all eternity.